In a distant, silent, and dense forest, there stood an old, lonely hut. In that hut lived a couple. They had everything in life, yet one longing always pierced their hearts. Every child born to them had been a son, but fate had never blessed them with a daughter. At last, their prayers were answered. The wife brought hopeful news to her husband that another child was on the way. Time passed, and after days and nights filled with earnest prayers, the moment finally arrived. A daughter was born. She was extraordinarily beautiful. Her blue eyes held the calm of a deep lake. Her lips were soft and rosy, like petals of a rose. A gentle radiance shone from her face, as though a piece of moonlit night had descended upon the earth. Her beauty was unmatched, as if all the wonders of creation had gathered in a single being. One day, the father called out to his sons, "Go to the old well in the forest and bring water, so we may bathe your little sister." The boys hurriedly picked up their pots and set off toward the forest. They reached the well, but once there, they became so absorbed in talking and playing that they forgot about time. At home, the wait grew longer and longer. When the sons did not return for quite some time, the father's patience snapped. In a fit of rage, he cried out, "You disobedient children! Do you not understand? May my curse fall upon you. May you all turn into crows." No sooner had these words left his lips than fate accepted them. In an instant, all his sons transformed into black-feathered crows. With harsh cries, they rose into the sky and vanished. When the sons did not return home, both parents sank into despair. In their hearts, they could not fathom how their own words had turned into such a dreadful curse. Their sons were lost forever, and only one comfort remained to them: their little daughter. Time passed, and the daughter grew older and more beautiful with each day. Her innocent smile lit up even the dark and lonely hut. She would run through the forest, chasing butterflies, and often sit with her parents outside to share their meals. Her mother and father never spoke of her brothers, nor of the terrible fate that had befallen them. They told her only that she was their only child. The girl, named Fauna, once told her parents that she wished to take cakes to an old woman who lived alone deep within the forest. She prepared a basket of soft, sweet cakes and set off beneath the thick canopy of trees. After some time, she came upon a moss-covered hut. As she neared it, the door creaked open and an old woman stepped out. Her eyes glimmered strangely, as though she knew far more than she should. Before Fauna could speak, the woman's trembling voice broke the silence. "So, you are the cursed child, the unlucky girl, because of whom her brothers turned into crows and never returned." Fauna froze in shock. The color drained from her face, and her heart pounded. With trembling lips, she whispered, I knew nothing of this. But today, I will ask my parents the truth." She rushed home and confronted them. For a moment, silence filled the room. At last, with heavy hearts, they confessed everything. That night, Fauna tossed and turned in bed, unable to rest. Memories of her lost brothers haunted her, and she wept, blaming herself for their fate. At last, she made a solemn vow: she would find her brothers, wherever they might be. At the first light of dawn, Fauna slipped a golden ring, her mother's gift, onto her finger, as though it were a talisman for her journey. She packed a small satchel with bread and a jug of water, and even carried a tiny chair so that when weariness overtook her, she could rest. With courage in her heart and light in her eyes, she set out. The forest air was sweet with fragrance, and the cheerful songs of birds filled her with hope. Again and again her heart whispered, "This journey will not be in vain. I will find my brothers and bring them home." After some time, she reached a magnificent waterfall. Its tumbling streams sparkled like thousands of diamonds, and the cool mist refreshed her weary face. She longed to pause and marvel at the scene, but her feet pressed onward. Soon hunger overcame her. She unfolded her little chair, sat down, and began to eat her bread. Suddenly, the blazing sun called to her. "If you come to me, I can tell you where your brothers are." Determined, Fauna began climbing a towering mountain toward the sun. But the closer she drew, the hotter and more terrible it became. The sun devoured all who came too near. Terrified, she fled back down the mountain, running and running until night fell. Exhausted, she collapsed by the side of a lake and wept bitterly. Her hope faltered, and despair whispered, "How will I ever find my brothers?" Then the full moon rose high in the sky. In its silvery glow, a gentle voice seemed to call, "Fauna, come to me. I know where your brothers are." At once, magical stairs appeared, rising into the heavens. Bravely, Fauna climbed until she stood before the moon. But up close it was cold, desolate, and haunting. Fear gripped her, and she hurried back down to earth. As soon as she lay upon the ground, the stars began to shimmer brightly, as if answering her sorrow. Tiny stars descended and lifted her into the sky. There, the stars sat upon glittering thrones, and their chief star gave her a bone, saying, "This is the key to the glass mountain. There your brothers dwell." Gratefully, Fauna wrapped the bone in a cloth and returned to earth. At dawn, she set out once more and soon stood before the towering glass mountain. But when she opened the cloth, the bone was gone. Sorrow and anger swelled in her heart, and smeared her blood upon the mountain's door. Instantly it opened. From within stepped a dwarf. "This is the place where your brothers live," he said. "If you wish, wait. Soon they will come." He laid out 4 small plates of food and cups of tea upon the table. Fauna tasted a little from each plate and cup, then slipped her mother's golden ring into one of the cups and hid herself away. Before long, 4 black crows flew inside. As they ate, they slowly began to change, feathers fading into flesh. At last, 4 handsome young men stood where the crows had been. Tears of joy welled in Fauna's eyes. One brother lifted his cup and gasped, "This is Mother's ring. Surely, one of our own is here." At that, Fauna rushed forward, weeping with happiness, and embraced her brothers. She told them of her long journey, of her sacrifices, and of the blood she had shed at the mountain gate. It was that very sacrifice which had broken the curse forever. The brothers clung to their sister, their hearts overflowing with love and gratitude. Returned home. And when their parents beheld all their children united again, joy brighter than the sun filled their humble hut. Fauna's courage and devotion had freed her brothers, and never again were they parted. The forest that once echoed with sorrow now sang with laughter and love. In that old hut, where despair had once lived, happiness blossomed again. The tale of Fauna, the brave sister who defied fate and saved her brothers, lived on in every whisper of the trees, in every bird song, and in every heart that cherished hope.